artists, it is Mrs. Simpson here, and in this demonstration video I am going to show you how to get started on your Unity sketchbook assignment. The first thing you're going to need to do to get started is to download and print your Unity worksheet. And you can actually see I already got started on mine here. So I have my worksheet downloaded and printed. Remember, if you cannot print, then you will just on a blank piece of paper, you will just break up your blank piece of paper into 5 little boxes, and you will demonstrate each skill on your blank piece of paper in your 5 boxes. You wouldn't need to worry about redrawing this. You just need to get 5 boxes and show me these skills on a blank piece of paper. Otherwise, for those of you who can print, it's super easy just to click print and fill in the boxes. Another thing you're going to have handy for this one, especially, this is really going to be helpful, is your reference sheet. Now, you don't have to print this one, but you should definitely have it open on your computer screen so that you can go back and refer to each one of these boxes. Because what I'm asking you to do on this worksheet is exactly what you will find on your reference sheet to help give you some ideas. But this one was a little bit trickier or a little bit more challenging to come up with ideas on what to draw. So I'm going to do that with you now so that you can even do what I'm doing. I'm going to break it down to even simpler images than what you see on your reference sheet. So you can take some of my examples and do them on your own. So we're going to start off here at the top, and we are going to draw an example of Unity through similarity. Now, before I can even get into that, I should really go back here and read the definition of unity. And unity is a connection between elements that create a sense of organization or harmony in a work of art. Unity helps to create a sense of completeness. So as artists, it's a must that we have to complete a work of art that creates a sense of unity. If something's not unified, our viewers are not going to want to look at it. It's not going to attract our viewers or keep them there looking at our work. So to make it pleasing to the eye, to make it harmonious, we need to have unity in our artwork. So we're going to show different techniques on how you can create unity within your own art when it comes time. So the first thing you're going to do is you're going to draw an example of unity through similarity. And I'm going to come back here and refer to my handout, because what does that mean? Well, it means that the elements, remember we're talking about the elements of art, line, color, shape, texture, value, form. We are going to use the elements with similar colors, textures, shapes. They will cause the viewers to group these together. That's that harmony. When we are creating these little images here, what it's causing the viewers to do is to group them and connect them together. It creates a sense of unity. So with similarity, it's easy. Whatever you draw in this box, you just want to use an element of art that is similar throughout. So you can draw any shape, you can draw any design, but you want to keep something the same, whether it be the color, the shapes, the line, the texture. You want to keep that in mind. So what I'm going to do here is I am going to draw just a little example here using a more free-formed organic shape. And I'm going to keep that shape the same throughout the whole image here. That's going to show that similarity and create a sense of unity. All right, so in the end, what I have here is a really good example of drawing unity through similarity. And you can see here the things that I have that are similar. I kept a similarity in the style of lines that I am using. And I kept a similarity in the colors that I use. So I stuck with a cool color group, the similar colors of cool colors like blue and purple, and then I repeated them throughout the little example here. You also saw that I went back in with a Sharpie and I went over my pencil marks to exaggerate those similar lines. So in the end for this box here, you should really just be showing examples of elements of art that are similar to one another. And that's really what we're sticking to with this one. So showing similarities between one element of art or another. All right, as you can see, I have quickly completed the worksheet. So that one reason is technical difficulties. My video stopped recording and I did not know it. So I kept working and didn't know it wasn't recording me. So I'm just going to show you here then what it looked like once it was finished. So the next one here is unity through continuation. And for this example, again, if you come back to your reference sheet, you should be reading the short little definitions. Continuation with unity is something, a line, shape, edge, etc., anything within the work of art that goes from one element to another, visually connecting them. So you can draw absolutely anything here as long as you are connecting them through some type of continuation. It doesn't stop. So you're not just drawing one little image down here and then it stops and then you pick it up over here. Somehow it has to connect. It continues with each other. So in my example here, I did kind of this ribbon design where I have this continual flow of these lines and shapes and value of going from dark to light. They continue. So it continues to flow through one another. All right. So for this one here, you're showing me a visual definition, basically of the word continuation through the use of the elements of art. For this box down here, we're drawing an example of repetition. Repetition means to repeat. So we're repeating an element of art or an object or an image of something over and over and over again. If we come back to the reference sheet, it says repetition. If similar elements are repeated, they will appear to relate. So you're repeating anything. You can see they repeated an image of a bug here, a beetle, in different directions. I repeated lines. So I drew a really simplistic image of a feather here. And I did that through the repetition of lines. So I just repeated the same line over and over and over again in a particular way to show the example of a feather. And that creates this unified shape of a feather. Down here then, I drew an example of unity through proximity. Proximity is, if we come back to our reference sheet here, the closer the elements are to each other, the more likely the viewer will see them as a group. So this is, proximity is how close or far apart elements of art or objects are to one another. But the closer they are to each other, the viewers will group them together and the piece will seem more unified. This is a really great example of how artists might use proximity and unity to play around with this positive and negative space to create an asymmetrical balance. So if I were to cut this in half, you can see here that I have an asymmetrical balance. I don't have the same or nearly the same objects on one side as I do to another, but it's still visually balanced. One ways that we achieve this unity and asymmetrical balance is through proximity. So I'm grouping similar elements of art, shapes, a continuation of the same kind of shape, and repeating this geometric shape. And I'm putting them close together in proximity to create unity and also to create this asymmetrical balance. So for this one here, you can use any shapes or any design element you want, but you want to keep in mind the term proximity. The closer the elements are to one another, the more likely the viewer will group them. So it's about placement, okay? And then last but not least is alignment. And if we come back, we can take a look at this example and read the definition. Lining up the edges of an element will cause the viewer to group them together. Again, each one of these are talking about connecting together, grouping together, appearing related. That all ties back to unity, okay? Unity is all about your viewers visually grouping, visually putting together, and your work just appearing whole or as one. And these are all different techniques in how we can do that. So for this one here, all I did was to line up edges of elements of art or even objects. I just took some lines and I put them in different directions, but I aligned them in a particular way. I lined them up. I lined up the edges to create this more woven pattern. So when my viewers look at this, it looks as though the lines are weaving together. Over and under, it looks like a woven texture or basket. And this, in the end, is exactly what Unity does. Unity is going to weave your whole piece together. It's going to tie it all together and create this sense of harmony, this sense of completeness or wholeness in your work. So not only can you show this sense of completeness through an example like the weaving pattern, but in the end, each one of these are really great examples of how your work can show unity. Don't make this harder than what it is. I know for this one, it might be a little bit of a challenge to come up with examples. Take some of the ideas that I did, take some of the ideas that you see here. But what you're doing is you're basically showing me a visual definition of similarity, a visual definition of continuation, a visual definition of repetition, proximity, and alignment. And what does that look like to you? Don't forget to put your name on it. There are really no wrong answers here, as long as you're trying your best and taking some ideas from what I have here or from the reference sheet. All right, this is Unity. I can't wait to see your completed work. When you're done, make sure you take a picture of it and submit it to the Dropbox for grading. These are worth 10 points. And I can't wait to see what you guys come up with. And most importantly, have fun.